there were hard days where I was like, I don't want to be black anymore. I want to be white. Or why are people so mean to me? And where my parents really had to sit down and talk about it with my sister and with me, because it's important to talk about it with someone.
Welcome to the Germany Experience podcast, the podcast about life in Germany as seen through the eyes of outsiders. Doesn't Kobe Bryant's death feel like it was decades ago? What is going on this year? What is going on? Now, last week I had an episode ready to go, but it just didn't feel right in the middle of some way more important conversations that were happening. And this week, I wanted to talk about what's going on this podcast, specifically with the view from Germany. So my guest is a young German African-American woman who has lived in Germany since she was in kindergarten. Her name is Jessica, and we had such a lovely chat. We speak about what it feels like for her watching what is happening in the States from over here in Germany. We discuss the racism that she faces in Germany, and parts of this were heartbreaking for me to listen to. But this interview is not even close to being a downer, thanks to Jessica being just so cheerful and positive. Here's my chat with her. Take a listen.
My name is Jessica. I'm 24 years old and I live since 2000 in Germany. I moved over here together with my parents. I was born here in Germany, and maybe as a little background, my dad was a soldier for the U.S. Army, and he was stationed in Augsburg, and we lived in Augsburg. Then we moved back to the States, and then he was stationed back here to Germany, and so we moved back to Germany in 2000, and since then I'm living here. We moved over here. My dad had to work back and forth, so we had to move a lot, and then he stepped out of the army and started working as a civilian for the U.S. Army here in Germany, in Darmstadt. And then my parents decided to stay here because my mom is German from Bavaria, and that was their decision to stay here and let me and my little sister go to school here, and that's how I stayed here and live here.
So you're German, right? You have German nationality.
Half German, half American.
All right.
Yes, I got both.
What was that decision like when your parents decided to stay in Germany? Were you happy about that? Did you have strong feelings?
It was mixed because I lived in the States and went to school over there and to kindergarten, and then we lived over here, so I had both parts. But at the end, I started going to school here and had my friends and everything, so it was a good decision and I was happy with it.
So the thing is, about this time, I wanted to talk to you about everything that's been going on now. You're an African-American German, mm-hmm. I guess you could say, because you're
yeah.
So obviously the things that have been happening over the past few weeks must have struck a chord with you. I wanted to ask you to start off with, what was your reaction when you watched the George Floyd video? And did you watch the George Floyd video?
Mm-hmm. I watched it. I heard it on the news, and then all of a sudden over Instagram, the video was going around. So I was like, okay, I'm going to look at it. And it was like devastating. I was shocked. I was mad. I was sad, everything at the same time. It was like, I don't know. I realized that it wasn't only a movie that was played, that this is real life. This is really happening. And I was like, all kinds of emotions, shocked, mad, everything. And it was like, I don't know. I was like, that his family, his loved ones, to see that on a movie or on TV or everywhere, that must be shocking, and that this is happening right now is really devastating.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch the video. I saw it when it, I saw some stills from it when it came out, and I read the news reports to see what it was about, and I wasn't going to watch it. And then eventually I saw it on YouTube, and I thought, no, I need to watch this. I think I need to see this. And it is incredibly, as everyone knows, it is incredibly difficult to watch. It's insanely difficult. And I think that's also part of what sparked so much outrage in the world.
Yes, because somebody was killed in front of a camera on TV. Like, that's unbelievable. and sad. And then with the police and the people around saying, stop, he can't get any, he can't breathe, and he's hurting, and everything, and the police wouldn't stop kneeling on him or hurting him.
That's what makes it so hard, is because you're watching this video and you just want to scream, stop. The people standing by him tried, and just the cop just didn't stop. And that's really difficult. I think there's a lot of things that goes through people's minds when they see that, because they're also thinking like, what's going through that guy's mind? How can you do that? Like, to cause someone so much discomfort and just not flinch or not move an inch.
Yes, normally the cops are the police, supposed to be the people that protect us. Yeah. And if you know the background of why they were putting him on the floor and kneeling on him, it's really bad, because there was no reason to be so rough or so rude to him.
Yeah, and when you start looking at it, then you realize this is a reflection of actually what's going on in America. And I heard someone say somewhere, I can't remember, one of the news programs, they were saying, oh, you know who it was? It was Trevor Noah from The Daily Show in the US. And he did a very good video about this, where he said, there are dozens of George Floyds who don't die. They just get this horrible treatment every single day. It's happening in America, but it's never news because they don't die. And then there are people who also die, but it's not on camera, so we don't see it, we don't understand what's actually going on.
Now, until the pictures were shown, and now you can maybe see and feel how lots of people in the world are, in the States especially, feel, or what they go through with the police and the violence and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Totally.
What has this been like? Because you've got ties to America, obviously. You said you were there, I think, until kindergarten, and then you moved over to Germany. So you must still have a lot of friends back there as well. What is it like watching this from afar, like from over here in Europe?
I have family, friends. I don't have like a few friends, but mostly family. And it's like, you scared, or you think about, oh, what's going to happen with your family? Hopefully everybody is staying safe and sound, and hopefully there's going to be, or come to a change one day, because I have a lot of boys in my family, like my nephews and everything. So I'm like thinking about them. What is going to happen to them? Are they going to have the same experience by just walking to school, or going grocery shopping or whatever, and then all of a sudden be attacked by a cop because they only walk across the street? So it's really tough and really hard to think about it, if that your family is still over there and maybe experiencing all these things, or getting contact with stuff like that.
And you said you hope that it comes to some kind of change, but I do too. I think maybe this feels like, it somehow feels different. But when you look back in 2012, there was Trayvon Martin, who was killed by George Zimmerman. I mean, that wasn't police brutality, but it was a racial attack. And then when I was I worked for three months in Seattle. While I was there, it was 2014, and that's when Eric Garner was killed in the chokehold. And a few weeks after that was Michael Brown, who was shot while he had his hands up. And there were protests back then too. And I also remember thinking, this has got to be some kind of change. And that was my first experience of the racial divide in the US, because as I said, I was just working there and observing. And these things happen, and I realized, wow, there is a big divide that I didn't see from over here, and that was quite an eye opener. So, do you think that this is different enough to bring about real change? Does it feel different to you, or do you think,
it's kind of, I got like mixed feelings, because I think the change has to come from up above, like Donald Trump, that I think that needs to take a big change, like with consequences, that if something happens like that the people, like the policemen, have consequences. I think there has to be a big change of the whole system, especially in the States with the politics and everything. I mean, here in Germany, there's a few things too that you could change, but I think first of all, in the States, there has to be a big change with everything. The whole system has to be like cleaned up or cleaned out or whatever.
Yeah. And I think that there's some steps being taken because a lot of I saw Minneapolis is saying that they're going to defund the police force. And
Mhm.
I'm not sure how that's going to work. Like, to me, I need to read up more and understand more about what that's going to do, because I don't know. But it's good to see that it looks like it's already having some kind of change. But the problem is right at the top.
Yeah, totally. That's why I think, first of all, it has to take change up there, and then you can go down to the like baby steps and change everything. But first of all, it has to change up there, that he sees the people up there see, okay, we have to take action, we have to do something, we have to clean up and everything. Yeah.
And maybe it does help. I mean, you have the situation where you have a lot of people marching on the weekends in the US, and of course protesting, and a lot of that is ongoing and it's still quite intense. So that's good. But then on top of that, he's going to have there is a lot of international outrage now. So this weekend in Germany, I don't know if you saw, but there were tens of thousands of people everywhere. I don't know if you maybe took part in a march or something like that, but there was thousands and thousands of people who came out to protest. How did that make you feel?
That was like an amazing feeling, because I never thought in a million years that so many people, especially here in Germany, would stand up and participate in something like that, and open their voices and reach out to the Black community or to everybody and say, we got to do something. We have to change something in the world, because sometimes it seems so far away for the Germans, because they always say or see, oh, that's all in the US and in the States and everything. And that they even say, okay, let's do something. Let's get up and do something against this situation. So I think that was really amazing, and was a good feeling, seeing that and hearing that we have so much support from other countries, from the whole world.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. I was struggling to think of what my role as a non-American is, because I'm from South Africa originally, and I've been living in Germany for 13 years. And I was struggling with, what does this mean for me as a non-American? Like, is this my issue? But the thing is, it is my issue, because it is an American issue, and I think that America needs to sort this out on them. Like, they need to figure it out. But it is everyone's issue, because racism is everywhere, and I think that it's good, because it's making a lot of people question things. It made me question things. It's made me, and I know a lot of Americans, white Americans here in Europe, who have also started thinking in different ways. And these people, let's say they're not racists, but even people who aren't racists can learn something and educate themselves at this time, because there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know when I started looking at this. And I also looked back at the podcast, and when I started, I wanted the podcast to be a representative of all kinds of people in Germany. And I haven't been, when I look back at my episodes, I'm like, I've got a platform and I haven't been using it for everyone, if you know what that means. So it's like, even me with my good intentions, I look back and I thought that's not good enough. I need to do something. So I think it's having that kind of effect on a lot of people, for people to look at what they're doing, look at how they're handling things on a daily basis, and rethinking it.
Yeah, that's the truth. That daily basis, that sometimes you do or say stuff, and then if you think about it, then it's like, oh, that's a little bit racist too. What I just said, or the action, or only the thinking of it. Like little things that you do all day where you think, okay, I need to change something, or maybe is that racist or something? Where you have to just think about it.
Yeah. And I think there is a lot of that, but the important thing is for us to be aware of it, and also historically, it's always been like a thing of being colorblind. But that's actually not what we need. We need to recognize that people of different colors and different cultures, we shouldn't pretend that doesn't exist, but we should understand our reactions and the way we're dealing with those cultures and people, and become more aware of it.
That everybody is equal and everybody is the same, regardless of religion, color, where you come from, what kind of thing you believe in, that everybody is the same and is equal.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, so you've seen obviously a lot of support from here in Europe. What could you say to Europeans? How can Europeans who want to help and maybe don't know how to help, how can they help? What can people do?
Really important is that they should read about it, like educate yourself about things. There's a lot of books, really good books out there that you can read. Our websites, over Instagram, there's a lot that's going on right now that you just educate yourself and maybe just think about yourself. Hey, what could I change in my daily basis? But the important thing is to raise your voice and educate. That's the important thing, that people like me, like people of color, are from all kinds of countries, that we see the support of people that maybe don't have that daily racist thing going on. So just support us, open or raise your voice for us so that we have like a support system.
Yeah. To get back to the protests and the protesters that is going on, there's been a lot of criticism in the media, or from some parts of the media, towards the protesters and about the looting and so on. What are your thoughts about that? Is that justified? Do you think that sort of anger toward the protesters is justified?
That's mixed feelings. I think going on a protest or doing those things are good, but maybe in a different way, not with being violent, breaking stuff, breaking into businesses and stealing and everything. I think that's not right, but like doing it in a nice way, and maybe a different way, not like it happened in the States with being violent, hurting other people, breaking stuff. I think that's not the right way to raise your voice and say, here's a problem, because people just see in the whole world that, oh, look, the Black people, there's a racist thing going on again, and the only thing that they do or know is to be angry and break stuff and break in and be violent.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the right way.
Yeah. What I see from the protests is that there's a lot of anger, and like you say, I think I do draw the line where you're hurting people. I think there's a responsibility to other human beings where you shouldn't hurt other human beings. But I get it in some ways. I get that these people are so angry. And another point as well, just to come back to Trevor Noah, is that you have a society is basically a contract with other people. You have a contract that I'm going to treat you well and you're going to treat me well. And the contract is with the police that you're going to protect us. And the police have broken that contract. So these people are saying, well, if there's no contract, then we don't have to behave in a certain way. So I get it as well. I 100% agree with you, because it does unfortunately give a lot of people fuel for criticism to stand up and say, well, look at them, look how they're acting. But I do get it. I 100% get those reactions.
Both sides.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is that doing those the protesting, that you do it in a peaceful way and not always be like, okay, we're angry and stuff, but don't break stuff or be violent. That's not the right thing. Or burn down
don't burn
things.
There's a rule. Don't burn things.
Yeah. That's right.
But it's always like that. I think it doesn't matter who's protesting. Whatever the causes are, when things get really heated, there's always a group of people that do it peacefully. And as far as I understand, like looking through all the stuff that the media is reporting, it seems like the majority of these protests have been peaceful. There's a lot of things where there's no events, and then there's a small group of protests and riots and people burning things down. But that's like it. It was even here in Germany a few years ago, and there were protests against the European Central Bank. There were people burning police cars and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing?
Crazy.
What about you living your life here in Germany itself? Is racism something that you come across on a daily basis?
Often. It started in kindergarten and it's on and on until now at work. Sometimes I still have people that are racist against me or against my family or with my husband. My husband is German. He sometimes gets in touch with racism too, I would say. Yeah, it's often. Like at work, it was one time I went to I went outside with my work colleague. It was a lady, she was 50 years old. And she asked me if my husband is not ashamed or is ashamed walking around with me in public because I'm Black.
Okay.
Like things like that. If I'm sitting in a restaurant by myself and still waiting for my husband to come because we meet sometimes after work, we go to dinner. And I experienced that sometimes people wouldn't come up to me and ask, here, do you need something to drink or do you want to have something to eat? That nobody came up to me and asked me if I needed anything, like stuff like that. Or my sister on a daily basis has problems with racism when she's driving with the train, that people, she sits next to people when she gets in the train, that they get up and walk away or go sit somewhere else because she's Black. So on a daily basis, we experience racism. Yeah, in Germany. It's hard to believe, but sometimes it's still there. Yeah.
But that's the thing, Jessie. That's the thing. It is hard for people like me to believe because we have this candy-coated view of the world, and we're not experiencing it through the eyes of the people who are going through it on a daily basis. So what do you say? How do you react to someone who asks if your husband's ashamed to walk around with you? Did you answer? Did you just walk away? What is your response?
I was shocked in the moment, and I didn't know what to say. And I was like, was that really a question that you asked me? I said to her, and she was like, yes, I want to know, how does that feel for your husband? And I was like, what are you talking about? Is that a joke or something? I'm not going to answer that. I'm sorry, but that's too much. And I was like, I was mad and she didn't understand that was not nice, or that I had a problem with that question that she asked, that it was like strange asking something like that. Yeah. She didn't understand that. So she was like, why are you mad at me now? That was just a normal question. And I was like, no, that wasn't a normal question. That was a stupid question. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. So that was, it was strange.
Yeah. And I know I can see a lot of people not understanding, but that, it's something that they need to understand in some ways. And I guess,
Or they don't notice that it's not right what they just did. They think it's normal by asking these strange questions. It was like, I don't know what she was thinking, but that was one of my experience. I had a lot of experience, bad ones, mean ones. It was one of my experience that I made in the past.
Yeah. Do you have other examples now, or?
I had the other day, what was that? Or at school, maybe go back to school, where a girl, I walked by her and she said, in German, puh, hier stinkt's aber nach.
Oh my God.
Kaka.
Oh my God.
Like that. Often. Things like that because of my color. Or then at the grocery shop with older people, when I was grocery shopping, that they were like older people saying, the N word, and look at her, and that different kinds of experiences.
Wow. Yeah. So what is your emotional state after something like that? Are you able to shake it off? How do you cope with it?
As a little girl, I used to start crying and go to my parents and speak about that with them. And my mom and my dad did a really good job with talking about those situations with my sister and with me, so that we could learn how to accept these things, or learn how to go on and don't let it sit on you. So meanwhile, if somebody says something like that to me, I'm not somebody that starts yelling at somebody or being mean or get violent or something. I'm somebody that just say, okay, that's not right what you just said or did to me, and I'm gonna go now. And just that's how I handle things. I don't let it get to me anymore. Like I used to be, like at school or when I was a teenager, I started crying or I yelled at the person and stuff. I don't let that get to me anymore. Just let it go.
Yeah, let it go.
That's the best way to handle things right now for me.
Yeah. But it's even heartbreaking that parents need to sit down and have those discussions with their children, like at a young age, explaining this is what you're going to come up against. This is what you're going to what you're going to hear. These are the kind of things that will be said about you, and this is how you deal with that. I mean, that's part of what has to change.
Yeah, like my dad, he had a lot of experiences in the army with being a black man in the army, so he already tried to prepare us for those situations. But it was hard. There were days where I was like crying and saying, "Mommy, why am I black? Or why do I have a dark skin? I want to be white like you." Like there were hard days where I was like, I don't want to be black anymore. I want to be white. Or why are people so mean to me? And where my parents really had to sit down and talk about it with my sister and with me, because it's important to talk about it with someone. Don't just leave it or let it sit in you, and then one day it all comes out and you're mad and angry and stuff. So I think it's important to talk about it with your loved ones.
Yeah. But like I said, when you tell me these things that you deal with, and I get it. Like if you were angry and if you did yell, I could get it. But like you said, that's maybe not always the best way for your own sanity or your own peace of mind. Is that you actually need to just let it go, because you need to understand that these people are fools, idiots. So what is your relationship with Germany?
I must say that I feel like Germany is my home. Well, I live here for 20 years now, so I got my family is over here, my mom, my little sister, my husband, he's German. So that's my relationship to Germany. And after my dad passed away here in Germany, we said, okay, we're going to stay over here. And Germany became my home because my family lives in Bavaria, my aunties and my uncles and everybody. So I can say Germany is my home now, my home country.
Yeah.
I'm happy here. Yeah.
And this is a lot going on right now. What are you doing about all of this stuff that's going on? Are you going to marches, or are you active online, or are you just taking sort of a more subtle approach and educating people in your friend circle? What's your approach at the moment?
I'm active online. Marches, I didn't have time to do the march on the weekend because I was not at home, but I want to participate in that if there's going to be more marches in the future online. Then educate my friends, my family, at work, speak up, raise my voice. I think that's very important right now.
Yeah, it is. I think it's very important for everyone to hear and understand, because there's a lot of learning to be done. And I'm realizing it now. In the past 2 weeks, I actually feel like a little ignorant, a lot ignorant actually, when I'm realizing, because when I start looking as well, just at the American side of things, at the history of how banks wouldn't give home loans to certain areas that were black, and those people just never owned homes, and then suddenly they were giving them loans that they couldn't pay for. And then they were the black people were the ones that struggled the most when the 2008 financial crisis hit. And there's a lot that I didn't know was going on in the background that I was completely ignorant to. And I think that's also when you start reading up about these things and looking into the background, you go, wow, this is big,
eye-opening. Yes, I think it's way more deeper than that would happen right now. I think a lot of things were done wrong in the past, and now it's the time to change everything.
Yeah, and I really, really hope that this is something that brings about real change. And I think the important thing as well is to not let it die down. I mean, it's going to stop trending, but the thing is, how do we keep it going? How do you think we should do it? Do you think it's just a case of just keeping this intensity online, or how do we keep it going?
I think right now it's important to keep it online, because that's the best way, I think, to get everybody, because a lot of people, especially the young people, are online, like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and everything. So I think that's the important thing, that should stay present online. so everybody has access to it, and that it's always right in front of the topics. So I think that's very important. But I think it should be a change in every country with the political systems too, so that they maybe take action and change something, not only about money things or different things or war or whatever, that they should maybe take time and think about the racism that's happening everywhere in every country, not only the United States. I mean, it's everywhere. Germany and Italy, everywhere. Africa. So I think that's really important, that should stay up online so everybody can keep going and educating themselves and try to change something.
Yeah, I agree. So, what is your mental state like? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's also a pandemic happening at the same time as all of this.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, we almost forget about this at the moment. And I mean, there's so much stuff that's happening in 2020. What is your mental state like personally?
I would say it's good right now. I think 2020 is like a time of change, with thinking about yourself, the mental health, then having more time for things like talking about racist, then educating yourself in different ways. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, oh my goodness, the world is coming to an end. I don't know what to do. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen? But I think here in Germany, everything is good. The system, how the Germany worked about this pandemic is good. I mean, our health system is good here in Germany, so I'm not really scared of it anymore. Like at the beginning when I was like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? So I think it's a time for change, and that this pandemic shows that we all need to help each other and be strong together.
Yeah, you do come across as a very positive person. I've just met you, and in the space of half an hour discussion, one definitely notices how positive you are. So I think that's a good thing, and I think we need a bit of positivity. Yeah, it is important.
That's right. That's very important. Yeah. Positive vibes.
Positive vibes. And if people want to follow you online, is there anywhere that you want to tell people to go and find you?
Yes, over Instagram.
Instagram.
My name is J Sarah on Instagram.
All right, so follow Jessie online, and yeah, I thank you so much for taking the time and coming on the show to talk about this difficult issue and giving an idea of what it's like here in Germany, and also a bit of how we can help. So I think it was very good to talk to you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and it was a lot of fun talking to you, and it was really nice.
Thank you. And by the way, I definitely have to get you back on to talk more about your German story, like not these big heavy issues, but just to get a bit more of your opinions of Germany and your experiences in Germany.
That sounds great. I would like to do that.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Theme music in this podcast by my band 10 Cent Janes, and additional music by Ryan Anderson, Until the End. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next week. Auf Wiederhören.